All right. Good evening and welcome to the Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union meeting. Today is Wednesday, February 16th. We are all virtual tonight, so it would be great if you want to speak or have something to add this evening, if you could raise your hand so that we can get to everyone. If you would all first join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands one nation
under God,
liberty and justice. All right, thank you. It sounds like we're doing it in rounds.
Yeah.
The first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
I'll make the motion. I don't even see. Oh, there's Eric. Michael.
I'll second. Michael seconds.
Second by Michael. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passes unanimously. General public comment. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak? Chris, you have the first one.
We have Catherine Mcgrath on the phone, then Colby Hescock will be second.
Okay. So, Catherine, if you'd like to go, please.
Okay. At any time, just stop me if you guys cannot hear me because I cannot see you guys. So I kind of wrote something out before today's development of the questionnaire and stuff. So I'm just going to read this and give you my thoughts as things started developing regarding face masks yesterday. So, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. My name is Catherine Mcgrath, and I'm a resident of West Rotlin. I have two young boys, one of which attended preschool at West Rotlin pre-pandemic and has not been back since March 2020. He should be in the kindergarten class this year. Because of the school's decision to take the choice away from the parents on whether their child should wear a mask, we chose not to send our son to school. These decisions, while I do not agree with, I do understand how the dominoes fell and the pressure to comply with the state recommendations. The silver lining is that we were able to continue to work and not be forced to make the decision for one of us to quit our jobs in homeschool or to comply and force our child to wear a mask. Many families were left feeling like they had no choice but to mask their child and send them to school. Well, it's not a surprise to me, nor do I think it's a surprise to you, that our children and staff have suffered throughout this. The state is starting to admit the reality of the anxiety of the children and staff, which is a direct outcome of forcing masks on these children. Our children are suffering much more than anxiety with mental, social, emotional health concerns and falling behind in school. I am not discrediting the school staff because I believe they're doing their very best with every possible, I believe they're doing the best they possibly can be with the mitigation measures they are up against. What has been done is done, and I'm not here to argue that. However, you do have control over the next steps going forward. The recommendations that were made yesterday by the state is to reach 80% of students and staff to be vaccinated for masks to come off. Governor Stott was answering questions during a briefing, stating he doesn't know how many schools qualify for the 80%, but believes it's a small population. He continues to encourage students to get vaccinated, and they will get a financial incentive and be able to take off the mask. He also stated that he thinks there will be a number of schools that are going to decide on their own that they do not want to wait for the 80% threshold, and they will move forward with mask removal before they reach that threshold. According to the Vermont Health website, Rutland County vaccine rates for fully vaccinated children aged 5 to 11 is 42%, and ages 12 to 17 is 65%. Parents have been given the abundance of opportunities to get their child vaccinated if they wish to do so. Whether parents decide to vaccinate their child should not be because of a reward of taking the mask off or the school district receiving a financial incentive. Secretary French said in the press conference yesterday that, quote, now that we have achieved one of the highest vaccination rates in the country, we are increasingly confident masks can be removed altogether. but we prefer to make incremental steps towards that goal, as we have done throughout the entire pandemic. A phased approach, in our opinion, works best for a couple of reasons. We are still exiting from Omicron surge, and this approach gives us a few more weeks to see the positive trends continue to play out after the winter vacation. We also think the schools and families need more time to prepare for these changes. When we make these recommendations, it will be just that, a recommendation, end quote. While the state has made clear this phased approach is not about science, but it is to help provide an ease into returning to normal, the reality is that there will be a day on the calendar that kids can take the masks off. If it's not February 28th, then why will March 7th, 15th, or 31st be better? I understand that all students and staff have different feelings about masks, and just as some are fully ready to ditch masks, there will be some that will be fearful to not wear it. Let's give these students the opportunity to show compassion for their classmates that are not ready to give the mask up, and no longer force them to wear it if they're ready to give it up. Our schools are never going to reach 80% vaccination rates. The vaccine rates are what they are, and they're not going to change significantly. Parents have made their choices. Please give the parents back the choice if they will have their child wear a mask or not. Lake Valley District has already publicly posted that they will be lifting their mask requirements on March 7th, stating that mask compliance is a daily challenge to enforce. Masks are not being worn by the majority of individuals outside of school settings. COVID will be with us indefinitely. Students will benefit socially and emotionally from mask removal, and current vaccine rates in their schools are only 39 to 71% based on the schools. When deciding how our schools will drop the mask requirements, please consider if February 28th isn't the day masks come off, then why the other date? Why would March 7th, 15th, or 31st be more safe? If 80% is never attainable, when the state recommends phases again for 70 or 60%, then all schools can no longer are recommended to wear masks. What science will have changed when they make those phased recommendations? When will the benefit of not masking our children be greater than the negative effect it has on their mental health and education? And why is this your decision to make and not the parents? Everyone is ready to get back to normal. No matter how you feel about COVID, masks, or vaccines, these decisions will be left up to the individuals. Your decision is what date on the calendar you will allow that. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak before you. I appreciate your time. And I'm at my son's hockey practice, so I'm going to go back into that. And thank you again.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Colby?
Hello, I'm Colby Hescock. I'm a 5th grade Rutland Town teacher, and I'd like to read a letter on behalf of the RTS teachers, a signed letter. Dear GRCSU board members, the teachers in the Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union are writing to the board to express our concerns regarding the lack of a fair contract. For each of the past 4 years since the district merged to form the GRCSU, we have been asked to renegotiate one-year contracts. Each time a negotiation takes place, concessions are made by both sides. This constant cycle of negotiations is taxing an already taxed system and adding undue burden to teachers. The teachers of this district have upheld their end of the contract by working in person throughout this pandemic and adjusting to constant changes in policy by the state. We deserve a multi-year contract in which our cost of living increases and salary scale steps are awarded and carried out. This level of transparency and predictability allows for teachers to plan for the future and feel more secure and appreciated in their positions at their schools. Respectfully, Rutland Town school teachers. And thank you also for letting me speak in front of you tonight.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? Any other members of the public that wish to speak? All right, I'm just going to share here, since Catherine spoke to the masking, that we will be holding a special meeting. The GRCSU will be holding a special meeting on Thursday, February 24th at 6 p.m. to discuss the masking policy and the steps forward within the GRCSU. This will be a virtual meeting, and that will be posted within the next few weeks. The only topic will be the masking policy. All right, moving on. The minutes of January 26, 2022. A motion would be in order.
Motion. Mike makes the motion.
Second?
Second.
Second by Eric. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Approval of the warrants.
Lisa, I was trying to get my finger on my mic to unmute. Sorry. I just want, there are two little typos on page 3.
Sure.
In the third paragraph, the third line, it says mid-year math assessment. I believe it's supposed to be MAP, M-A-P as in Peter.
Oh, MAP.
Yeah. And then on the 5th sentence or the 5th line of that same paragraph, it says PLTs as in tiger. I believe it's supposed to be Cs as in cargo.
Oh, I see. Yep.
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll make those 2 changes to the minutes. Thank you. All right. Approval of the warrants. You receive your warrants within your GRCSU email. All questions and concerns should be directed to Lewis. A motion would be in order to approve the warrants.
I make the motion.
Motion by Lynette. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Tina. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Superintendents report. Chris.
Thank you, Lisa. I just have a few items to kind of review and go over. The first majority of, I've gone through this with a lot of local boards, but the majority of our time the past month has been spent with preparing for the town meetings, informational meetings, budget presentations, things along those lines. So we do have our annual meetings coming up. I know we have Proctor and Wells Springs next week. Then we have the informational meetings for Rotlin Town and Ira on the 28th as well as voting. So it has been a busy time. Brochures have been, I think, mailed out yesterday to all residents. Booklets have been prepared and are available. They're also available on our website, as well as there should be presentations for the Wells Springs, Corey Valley, and Rotten Town that are appearing on PEG TV. We also will be showing those presentations at each of our meetings on the 22nd, 23rd, on the 28th for the public to view and walk through. The quick COVID update. I know that Lisa had kind of alluded to that. The big shift really has, well, there have been 2 shifts. One was about the test to state from test to home. And I think that's part of, we're well aware of that. So we discussed how successful test to state was, but also at a cost. It did, put a toll on administrators, school nurses, front office people who had to kind of shoulder the burden of this. And while they did a great job of ensuring that students were back into school and got back in class on time, the state did, begin to pivot away from more of a school-based approach to a home-based approach. And with the, test to home, we said, I want to thank the parents, the GRCSU who have picked up test kits, who have done the things they need to do, and we do greatly appreciate that. Along the lines with that, I know that there was a letter sent out a couple days ago that talk about that test kits are available for families. Pick up 2 test kits for post-February break. So I think there was a form on there's a link on the memo, the email that was sent out. So if you have a problem with the link or you need, you can't get a hold of that, please reach out to your building principals or myself or Lisa, and we'll make sure we get you those test kits for that. So the other big shift, we kind of talked about, and I know that Catherine discussed this, is as well as last Tuesday, Governor Scott and Secretary French alluded to a shift in the masking, that they were not going to push the date back, that as of February 28th. The guidance and the recommendation is that we shift to an 80% vaccination of eligible students for moving to a mask optional. Right now, we do not have any schools in the GRCSU that are 80%. I think that we have some that are close, others that are pretty far away in terms of percentages. But that is something we're taking a look at. It will be something that we'll be discussing next Thursday as well in terms of what the next steps are moving forward. We're well aware of what Slate Valley, their next steps.
You froze up on us, Chris.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry. I apologize. So as I was saying, I think we'll be discussing. It was with Slate Valley who had kind of posited their next steps with the masking. I know that Catherine referenced that in her public comments. We're also looking at there are a lot of supervisor unions, both regionally, and statewide, that are looking how best to pivot and what the next steps will be. But that'll be something which we will discuss as we met with board chairs, and I met with our admin team. We did feel it was important for us to continue to have public input with this as well, because we do understand that this is a topic that has from some very strong opinions and a lot of passions on both sides. We felt that as we move forward with what the next step I'm asking, that we want to make sure that we take all sides in consideration and then build our plan that really respects all people, all individuals within our school buildings. So the legislative update is in there. Most of you should receive that through VSBA email as well. This is an older link. There's a newer one, but like I said, I will send that out to you by the end of this week in a separate email. But just kind of gives you an overview in terms of what's out there and what's on the horizon with that. So that's all I had. If I have any questions, feel free to answer those, please.
Questions for Chris? All right, moving on. Lisa Matson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I believe you have my written report, and it feels like we were just here. 3 weeks between meetings was quick turnaround. If there's any questions on my report, I'm happy to field them. Otherwise, we're really focused on a lot of professional work and professional learning right now. We just had our February in-service where we focused on map data and had a series of different professional learning activities planned throughout the day for both school-based teams and teachers to go through that mid-year data and look at some reflection and planning on meeting student needs moving forward. And March in-service is right around the corner. We also had a rescheduled PLC date from November to February. So we, including today, have had 3 PLC meetings in rapid succession, which has allowed us to get to a really great place with some of the curriculum work that's going on. The teachers have been working really hard in support with the instructional coaches to get to a place where they've got some drafts of those proficiencies. Almost every group is finished at this point. Some are still finishing electives and different pieces, but the core courses are basically outlined, and we have a curriculum review team that is started. We're starting. We've got dates on the calendar and an application form going out to try to gather some teachers together to engage in that work of looking at that vertical alignment piece. Our goal at this time is to finish that work between this spring and the early summer and get published documents up and available to everyone, and all of those proficiencies pre-aligned within the jump rope system and set up in advance so that when teachers start in the fall, those are preset for them and ready to roll for the upcoming school year. So still lots of work to do between now and then, but our teachers, again, have been working super hard on that and really pulling together the great work that each previous supervisory union had done in articulating curriculum and making it really clear and agreed upon across our GRCSU schools. So exciting next steps. I'll keep you posted on those as we move through the spring. Also I'll give you an update on March in service. After that, we're still debriefing February. We had some great feedback from teachers and administrators, and Al Gregorich, our data manager, and the coaches are pulling together some of that feedback, and we're having a debrief meeting with the principals right after February break to talk about the day too. It was our first district-wide day devoted just solely to looking at data in that way. So we want to get some really thorough feedback from people in planning for future data-based focused professional time. And with that, if anybody has any questions.
All right, questions for Lisa? All right, thank you. Moving on to contract recommendations, you have in your packet for professional staff, support staff, and extracurricular. Without objection, we will approve them all together. So we're looking at William Basic for Director of Student Services, Allison Okulia as a para, and Deborah Singer, a career counselor, which is a grant position. Any questions on those positions? Eric?
Yeah, I had a question for William Basic. It says grant. Is that a fully granted?
A portion of it.
Just a portion of it. And is that the way we're doing that for the current Director of Student Services?
Yeah.
Okay.
That position's budgeted 87.5% through IDB and 12.5% through Medicaid.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Lisa, did you want me to talk a little bit about Bill?
Sure, if you'd like to.
So,
yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
I just, I know that when Christine Cam notified us that she would be retiring this year, there was obviously a bit of concern. One, because whether or not we'd be able to find a qualified candidate, and it's always difficult to replace someone like Christine. And as we began our search, we were fortunate to have some individuals who had overly qualified, had a lot of experience. I think if you look at Bill's resume, Bill having served as Director of Special Education, he was an Assistant Superintendent, a Superintendent. He was a special educator. He as a para, so he has he has a wealth of experience in a variety of levels, particularly around special education. He also is well respected within the state of Vermont, highly knowledgeable about particularly Act 173 and a lot of the special education issues, and homelessness and 504. So it was a nice fit for us. And as we look at shifting, we wanted to have someone who could provide a fresh outlook and a vision in terms of from special education, other things, but also fit well within our GRCSU team and work with our administrators. And we did feel that Bill was a perfect fit for us, and we think that he will. While, like I said before, it's going to be very difficult to replace Christine. We won't be able to hire Christine, but I think Bill is a pretty good substitute for us, moving forward. But it is without hesitation, I do recommend Bill's hiring to this board. I think, like I said, it's be a great fit for us, and exactly what we're looking for moving forward. So,
thank you. And three of us from this, Tina, Eric, and myself, all sat on the interview committee, and I think we were all in agreement. And we did have some great candidates to interview. It was a pleasure to hear from all the candidates. So are there any other questions? Meredith? Meredith, you're muted.
He had commented about that he felt being in a smaller school system would be a better fit. Is that something you guys talked about?
Yes, I think Bill is familiar with the GRCSU, having worked through the Southwest Regional Superintendents Association, so he's familiar with that. We did have a long, lengthy discussion about our school, the geography, the size, and the needs, and he is excited and ready to take on that role.
Yeah.
So, and I think one of the things is, like I said, he has a great understanding of each of our communities just through his experiences and over the years. So.
All right. Any other questions? Is it possible for the next meeting we could receive a syllabus or something about the career counselor and what that encompasses and what the objectives and deliverables are from that grant. I know we've had it for a few years now, and other than approving it here, we never hear much about that. So just so we could all see what the expectations are, I think that would be good for us if that's possible.
Yep, I can bring that.
Okay. All right. A motion would be in order to approve the contract recommendations.
Seth will make that motion.
I'll second. Michael second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. You also have 3 resignations in your packet. Eric?
I'm sorry. There's on the bottom of that, there's a 8,750 grant on the bottom of that.
That goes with the career counselor.
Okay. All right.
So on the resignations, you have 3 resignations. Jamie Hopp from West Rutland Para, Nolan Woods, Rutland Town Para, William Crossman, Proctor High special ed teacher. A motion would be in order to accept the resignations.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignations.
Motion by Jeff, second.
I'll second Lance.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Also in your packet, you have for information only are the open position handouts. Finance, Lewis.
Hello, good evening. I have things to talk about tonight. The first one is the special ed forecast that was in the packet. So currently we're estimating that we're running a surplus of about $58,000. As you know, I mean, it's a pretty large budget. We still have a lot of year left. So special ed expenses can fluctuate pretty greatly from month to month, depending on students moving in and out. So we'll keep an eye on it, but things are looking good right now when we do anticipate ending with the surplus. Any questions on that? The second item is last month we talked about the special ed vans that we're buying through the ARP grant. And the board had asked me to look into what it would cost to customize one of them to be able to be handicapped accessible. And so I did speak with both the dealership as well as a company that specifically does that customization, and we'd be looking at about $15,000 to customize the van. It would be putting in a ramp and the whatever's needed to secure the wheelchair once it's in. I have also spoken with the state, and we can use the insurance money to put towards that van. And I also looked into the trade-in value of the current van at Rutland Town, and we'd be looking at approximately $12,000 to $13,000 for trade-in for that vehicle. So with the insurance company and the trade-in, we'd be looking at approximately about another $20,000 to have a third van that's fully equipped.
Any discussion?
Thank you for looking into that, Lewis.
Is everyone still in support of this? Michael?
We voted on it last month, so it's already approved.
Right, but we didn't have the numbers, so I just want to make sure with everyone having the numbers that we're all still, everyone's still comfortable. I'm certainly not trying to dissuade anyone. I just want everyone to have an opportunity. All right. Okay,
I will also mention, just so that you know, so Okay, I was also just going to mention, so by making it handicapped accessible, it does remove the seating in that van for other students. So it would reduce the ramp would be in the rear, so you lose the third row seat. We'd still be able to fit 5 students if we weren't using it for handicapped. It still seats 5, which should be sufficient for most situations.
That's great.
Thank you, Lois. That's great.
Good job, Lois.
And that's all I have for tonight.
Great. Thank you. Old business. Is there any old business to come before the board? All right, new business. Now you have, I'll let Chris speak to the calendar. There was a calendar that was sent out with the packet, and then there was a second email with the revised calendar. So you want to be looking at the latest version, which would have come, I think, this afternoon.
Right.
All right, and I'll let Chris speak to the calendar then. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so the calendar set this afternoon was after Lisa Madison and I met the association. It was brought to our attention that as we were trying to build out additional professional development days for staff, just around a lot of the initiatives and things we have going on, would be school-based, district-based, SU-based. There was a concern with master agreement with regard around the number of days around. So we had 186 working days, but we had 176 student days, and we had to kind of, they had asked us to bring those the 176 student days, 180 student days to keep in line with the master agreement, which did shorten up some of the professional development days and time that we had offered for staff. But so the calendar that we have right now currently reflects 180 student days, 186 working days there. The one big shift that you notice is that we have, and this is after discussions with board and with administrators and members, but we have removed the 2 o'clock Wednesdays. We still have in place that that staff will still have an opportunity for their faculty meeting time still, but we've removed that time. We've in looking at the data, and I know there was a lot that we did with that, but I think after, as the board expressed, after 10 years of this, it was looking for a shift, and so we looked at ways to find a different way of providing some professional development without disrupting learning for our students, and so we altered that, and like I said, we found some time for some longer full-day PDs during the course of the year, and then in addition, we have 2 half-day PDs. I do believe those are December and January. I don't have the calendar right in front of me because I have too many screens up, but that's where we're at. So it will provide, our building administrators, Lisa, myself, as we set district goals, building goals based around a variety of initiatives that we have, an opportunity to continue to work with our staff because our goal is to continue to provide high quality instruction in our classrooms, as well as to increase student learning. And I think that is our goal, and that's something which we need to do, is that as Lisa and I have been in schools and worked with administrators, that is a need, that we have a lot of very good educators doing a lot of great things. We want to make sure that that's happening in all of our classrooms all the times. And so this calendar will allow us to do that as well. So, and that's any questions on the calendar?
None. Can we make a motion, Lisa, to approve the newly revised calendar?
We certainly can.
Well, I did.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chris, very much. Moving on to policy, we have 2 policies for second read. That is the use of copyrighted work, which is G2, and parental involvement, which is H1. A motion would be in order for the approval of those 2 policies.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. The first read policies we have are E2, School Crisis Prevention and Response, E4, Electronic Communications, Use and Retention, G6, Complaints about Instructional Materials, and D7, Harassment of Employees. Questions, concerns, comments can be directed to the Policy Committee.
So Lisa, everyone should have received an updated copy of H1. I just want to make sure, because I know that as we found out last night, there was still an older copy. I think that was distributed that had a formatting issue. So I made sure that the issue had been rectified. I think
right.
That
came with a calendar.
Correct. I just want to make sure that that's the one people are looking at.
You should receive that with the calendar and with the.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you for doing that, Chris.
The next meeting, as I said, we'll be having a special meeting on Thursday, February 24th at 6 o'clock. It will be an online only meeting, and the only topic at this point, unless something comes up, will be the masking policy and moving forward. April Morse is asking where they can find copies of the policy. The public can find once policies are approved. My understanding, policies are posted to the GRCSU website, correct?
There's a process with that. Yes, Christy McGinnis is working through that. So you can always reach out to Christy McGinnis as well for a copy of the approved policies. I'm more happy to share. Or April can reach out to me as well. She knows that.
All right. Tina?
I just wanted to note, because it sounded kind of like you were moving on, that I did make a few comments about the first read policies at the meeting last night. So I didn't know if you wanted me to go over it again tonight, or if the policy committee's already gotten that information, then we don't need to.
Correct. They've already gotten it, Tina.
Yeah, they've already received it.
Perfect. I get very confused as to when I'm supposed to repeat myself and when I'm not. Thank you.
Okay. And then the next regular meeting, of course, will be March 23rd, which will be the reorganization meeting. And I would just say to people, we talked a little bit earlier about people that are on the policy committee would remain on that committee for continuity. And we had discussed negotiations, since we are still in negotiations, that members that are on the negotiation team would remain also. But there are obviously other opportunities and other committees as things come up, or interview committees and different things like that for members to be a part of. So just to think about that. Is there anything else to come before the board? And we have no need for executive session.
Lisa, do we need to meet to just discuss length of contracts for because we have not we have approved, but there is no discussion of the length of contracts.
Right, I forgot about that since it wasn't so. I
could quickly send a new link if you want.
Sure.
Or we could just stay here if whichever.
We could just stay here and just excuse everyone.
Okay.
So we do need to move into executive session. That's my mistake. When we did central office staff, we didn't complete everything. So we need to move into executive session for discussion on contracts for central office staff. So motion would be in order at
I'll make that motion
to move.
Second.
And a second by Eric. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So we'll wait till as we excuse everyone except board members and Chris. So we've exited executive session by consensus at 6:57.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Everyone have a lovely evening.